Oh, thank you. As I was saying, perhaps we better start at the beginning. Well, that was just 2 minutes, right? I was just practicing. I was just getting warmed up for you guys. You saw me doing stuff. You didn't hear a word I said. Thank you, Milky Milk Water, coming in on the YouTube. Wow. What a clown I am. You know, I have this mute button and I like to take advantage of it. And then the next thing you know, I forget to turn off. Welcome to the Constant Companion Theory. I am your host, Mr. Ed at Tridactyls, tridactyls.com. We are talking about the non-human beings. You can see some of them behind me. We are going mostly on our studies are based on the small, what they might call J types. I also like to call yakshas or yakshinis in honor of the Hindu term for these little dwarf-like beings. And the hybrids. Looks like we got some likes coming in on TikTok. Thank you on TikTok, whoever you were. So what two of the main DNA and carbon dating studies have been focused on Victoria, which you can see right there, specimen number 4. I actually hate to call it Victoria because it really seems to be a disservice to that specimen. I suggest that that specimen is the most important specimen in human history, the most important individual in human history. Yeah. So what else we got going on? So we're going to be looking at her and then Maria right underneath her. So I got to figure out which way my shoulder is here. See, there you go. There's probably an easier way to do that. I can always just switch cameras instead of moving my body. Okay. But those two tell us that Victoria is 3% primate, Maria is 30% primate. So we are going to be focusing on those two specimens, although there are 2 other peripheral specimens. There's a big hand, and there's the Suye types, the very dragon-like. They have spinal eminences, these curved spinal eminences. I'm wondering, hear me out, if those spinal eminences somehow migrated to their skull. And maybe that's why we got those cranial ridges. Those cranial ridges are just those vestival eminences, which is interesting because I suggest that the cranial ridges may be part of the myth of the feathered serpent. They look a little feathered. And maybe those spinal eminences, maybe they attached exterior lungs. That's just one of the many strange morphological traits of these guys. Thank you again, Milky, for telling me I'm muted. You know, I try to use that button. I try to be efficient. Let's take a look at a few things today. We do have to do our own little plug here. So let me go ahead and bring the camera down. Bring it down. Bring it down. Here we go. I'm going to get small. Hey. So here we are at our website. Why do you want to go here? I do put some of the videos up there so you can see some of the live lectures. The papers are up there. So I do write sort of science light papers. They're not published, but consider them a science report for your purposes. I wrote it for you. So those are there, and you can look at some of my theories on the hey, Skywatch. I like to share some of our commentary. Hey, why, thank you, sir. You know, I'm rocking my groovy Tridactyl shirt, which we can get you right over here at the store. So we might be changing our logo soon. I don't know. The classic blue logo is cool. You know, we had fun with some of the characters. So there's an impression of Ka. So it's almost like a Rick and Morty version of what I suggest. You know, we have an alpha being that's running around. Got a little cool cobra symbol there since we are dealing with the Naga. Of course, Inti. Inti is named after the sun god of Peru. You know, I think we've tried to do more for naming these things after Peruvian gods than the researchers in Peru. Yeah, I'm trying to share your comments, and I don't know. Sometimes my mouse gets like, there we go. Loving the shirt, brother, from Skywatch Signal. Go follow Skywatch over on X. He is all over the place covering this topic. Milky Milkwater says, of course, for the thank you. So, yeah, we're just taking a look at the store. Again, I hate to grift, but I think the store costs me $40 a month. So I need to sell like 10 shirts a month or something. I don't know. The website's still in effect, so I think that's pretty good for now. Just check out those things. All right, let's get into some more. Let's get into business, right? Because, like, what is the business? The business is, of course, our dear Tridactyls and their very, very strange morphology. So let's see if people, especially religious folk, I hate when people use the term worship, because then they're confusing worship to how they worship, and it's not necessarily the same thing. I like the term revere, and I like to point out that it's never about the animal. The animal is just a symbolic stand-in for the ancestors. And one of the interesting things about the Naga, now, why am I even talking about the Naga? That's why we always have to go back to the beginning. So I recognize the bodies. I recognize the Tridactyls from petroglyphs in Bella Coola, Canada, and in the Caribbean amongst the Taino people. And those petroglyphs were found in association with water spirals, serpent. Oh, it froze. Is that what happened? Are we still frozen? I think we're not frozen anymore, though. I think I saw that I was frozen. And then interesting. I'm doing too much today, perhaps. Give me a shout out if we are unfrozen. Yeah, we got 2 people coming in on YouTube. We've got some messages coming through. And I don't know, some skeptic is talking smack on X. Look, if you're a fan, you know, people ask how you can help me out. Now you're good, bro. I'm taking a little sniff break. I'm retired, sir. I should let people know, not only was I the Yoda of bartenders in South Florida, but I also was the bouncer manager for the South Florida's largest nightclub. So my science and academia is a little rough around the edges. So we're talking about the Nagamani, because it turns out, guys, that there are plenty of myths about these Nagas having stones. Oh, what's going on there? That's not. Oh, you know what? I do remember this. This was something I said to myself, you're going to have to fix that screen later. And here we are. That day has come. Okay, so I got a little quote here for myself. The cosmology predicts the biology because the cosmology is predicated on the biology. So when we say cosmology, I don't just mean outer space. I mean the cosmological beliefs of a people. So we may call it mythology. And we dismiss it such, folk tales, legend. All of this are mostly, in my opinion, these are words that we use to dismiss the religion of others. And going back to the animals, it's not about worshiping animals. It's about reverence for the ancestors, and that the animals are the substitutes. So I've also said archaeology is predicting the biology. So let's see if we can get back to putting some comments up on the screen. We'll see. Hopefully that's not. Don't slow me down. Archaeology is predicting the biology, guys. So same with the cosmology. So what I mean by that, if you're following the people of the Dogon told us that there was amphibian hermaphrodite beings. Both them and the Bon people of Tibet told us of serpent mothers. So these petroglyphs that I realized were the same beings as the Tridactyls were associated with water spirals, serpent imagery, and mother goddess imagery. So stick figures giving birth or stick figures embracing smaller beings. And that led me to the ultimate in beliefs on serpent mothers, and that's the Naga, also known as the dragons. So I wonder if I should maybe even get rid of me. I think it's time to say goodbye. You don't need to look at me right now. I just need to show you what's on the screen for a bit. Okay, so just some of the stuff we're covering is that Hinduism, again, and the Asian belief systems have really codified the beliefs in serpent beings and other just interesting phenomena. So this is where we get the third eye that they call the ajna, which interestingly enough, even though some people associate it with the pineal gland, the ajna is in the top forehead, where we're going to see more of that with the Tridactyls. So also called the tilaka in I believe that's the proper pronunciation. Excuse me if I butcher that, which is when you see Hindu people and they have some sort of marking on their head. And we're going to run with the term the Nagamani, which is the belief in serpent stones or cobra pearls. Yeah, how cool is that? So the Naga are said to have these wish stones within their head. Now, what's interesting is that apparently, I didn't realize this, but snakes actually, because serpents is really something different. Snakes do not have pineal glands. Now, this belief goes on into North America with Mishipeshu, which is a North American water cat or an underwater panther. I don't know if I have any. I don't have anything on the underwater panther. We should probably pull up a picture of that. The underwater panther. So I suggest the underwater panther are merely just our Tridactyls. They have a benign cat-like face. Oh, here we go. Om Namah Swaya. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. You know, this month is Naga Panchami, so this is actually the month they celebrate the Naga. This is a living, breathing religion. I think I can pull myself back here for now. Let's see. Okay. You can go back and forth there. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about these organs. You've probably seen this before. We have a side view and a top view, but what I'm starting to realize is that these beings might not be just having a third eye. They might have a fourth eye. Now, let's see if I have a cool video to play. Nope, let's see. We'll just have to go to our home video here. I think this is it. Nope, that's just the meme again. Okay, so well, let's look at some other stuff then, because I think we're going to get out of that. We're going to get out of that there. Now, I got some cool pics to show you. I do want to take a look at the lamprey. You know, this lamprey kept coming up in the research. It kept coming up because it's one of those transition. Well, how can I put this? It's a pre-vertebrate. It is a primitive vertebrate. Let's put it that way. It is a very primitive vertebrate. And note the 2 extra eyes. So they suggest that this animal, this lamprey, has 4 eyes. And I think we might be seeing something similar with the Tridactyls, with them having what looks to me to be a not just third eye. Let's see. We're going to play this video for us and see if this will. Whoa, that's not the right one. We broke the dimension. Dan, I feel like I wish I had the Doctor Who theme just playing just now. Okay, let's check this out. Hopefully, you guys can hear this. If not, I know my people in the audience will let me know if this is something you are watching. Okay. I think I lost my control here. There we go. How's everybody doing? You having fun? Don't forget today also, we're going to be giving, yes, a four-eyed fish. We're going to be giving away a Josephina replica head skull. I like to call it a skull. That way I'm not giving away head. So don't forget, why do we like this so much? Because she's got her groovy heart face, supraorbital arches. We can see her concave region, where I suggest is where you're going to find these parietal glands, this parietal pineal complex. And let's hit play. Okay. Awesome. Very cool. So yeah, why is this important? Let's go full screen here, shall we? This is important because it further proof that this is a reptilian amphibian creature that, like the lamprey, if it has both the parietal eye and the pineal eye, if the tridactyl has four eyes, which maybe the myths have already led to. Wait, what? Oh, no, you can't choose that one, that number. It's already been taken. You tried that last time. We will be giving away a Josephina model skull later. We'll be rolling on roll 20 on a percentile dice to see who might just win. Yeah, but so that's why it's important, because first of all, there's still people out there who think these are dolls or these are fake. Obviously, things like pineal glands, parietal complexes, this makes these things definitely not fake. There's that. And again, it sort of leans to this 500 million years ago origin of this morphology. And again, the biology is predicted by the religion. By the cosmology. We knew. If you see it in some of the art, you'll see the third eye depicted in art, right? Plenty of different cultures, Southeast Asia, Oceania. So I already knew, oh, I'll bet you these guys have a third eye. Oh, and they're amphibian, reptilian. I'll bet you they have a third eye. I'll bet you it's going to be here. And then we got those sagittal cut scans. And I remember now trying to locate the eye, and it felt like it was moving on me forward and backwards. But I also posted a picture, not knowing it was the four-eyed lizard. There's also a four-eyed lizard from in many, many millions of years ago. I can't remember its name. But I posted its diagram of its glands too. And so it showed the connecting organs as well. Very interesting stuff. So yeah, that's where we're at with this. The Tridactyls, as I've said many times before, I've said they are the Naga. Maria has Han Dynasty and Myanmar DNA. These are the hotbeds of dragon mythology. And in Myanmar today, they still practice neck extending. And in Nagaland, the gentlemen tattoo the cross-hatching pattern on their chest. They tattoo the singular interclavicle furcula on their chest. And they even tattoo the supraorbital arches and the temporal bones on their face. Again, this is a living culture. Perhaps that's the other clue here. The other clue here is if this Naga stuff, for example, you can go to eBay. Go to eBay right now. Go buy your Nagamani. Go buy your Cobra Stone, your Serpent Pearl. They're selling them. And I don't want to just, make light of someone's beliefs or superstitions, because clearly there is some evidence to this. And isn't that funny that cobras apparently don't really have these glands? How weird. Which means, again, the Naga are the Tridactyls. What other evidence did we have? Well, we have the Naga morpheme, that sound that's found in Naga and Anguilla and angels. I'm sure there's some other evidence out there. So, what else? I think I didn't want to do too long of a show. So if people have questions, feel free to ask some questions, comments. I know people ask what you can do out there. Well, one, feel free to shut down the trolls. There's too many of them out there. There's woefully ignorant skeptics. There's Dunning-Kruger people out there. Block them also. That's just another thing I do. I block people if they're just too willfully ignorant. But besides that, go to your local museums. Look for the cross-hatching pattern in ceramics. Don't just look for 3 fingers, because people's memory of these beings change. So look for the wide heads, cordiform heads or wide heads. Look for spirals. Okay. I, of course, suggest that the whole of humanity is derivative of the Tridactyls. The archaeology supports this. The cosmology supports this. And even these 500 million year old timelines support this. Yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily have to be rude to them either, but it's like, give them the facts ad nauseum, bury them with facts, and call them out on their stupidity. I try to just block a lot of them, especially if they're just nasty. That's the thing. Rarely is there a debate. It's usually, all of this is dumb. All of it. Excuse me. Of all the times to get a throat tickle, huh? Wow. That's the good Lord telling me to shut my mouth, I think. Oh, here's something. I figure when we're talking about pineal glands, everybody wants to talk about the eyes, right? The eyes look like a pineal gland. I never really liked that theory personally. But my theory is this, that the symbol is actually a serpent mother, which one of them is actually at the, what is her name? Help me out. Wadshit? I don't remember her name. The serpent goddess of Egypt. So I turned it sideways so you could see a serpent head and maybe an egg. And with the 2 icons like that, very reminiscent of the Chinese grapheme for dragon, which is also 2 symbols. I'm okay. Okay, let's go ahead and let's check out our numbers to see who is in the game this week. I think we have some new people in here, so we can get some numbers for them so that they can play today. So let's pull up the numbers. Head games. Just you and me, baby. Head games. I can't take any more. Right? Okay. So let's start with, oh, I see Gears is here. Let's start with Milky Milk Water. Milky Milk Water, since you are here today, you can choose a number. And we'll just give Milky Milk Water a moment there for the time delay. We can also check out some other messages happening here. Uh-oh. Maybe I won't be showing those messages. Okay, so if Milky Milk Water, I don't know if he's out there. Let's move on to Skywatch. Skywatch, pick a new number. Head games. And of course, it takes a little bit of while for the number to come in. So you can also look us at tridactyls.com, of course. Okay, Milky coming in with 8. Oh, someone's already got 8, buddy. How about 9 or 16? 79 for Milk Water, for, UAP Skywatch. So, yeah, and wow, who's next? Who was next? Who is next in the pool? I think next in the pool was Lauren. Lauren, if you want to pick a number. Milky, we need another number besides 8. I recommend 9, 16. We're trying to give away these heads, believe me. All right, he's got 9. Cool, cool. You have to get with me. All right. And then so Lauren, if Lauren gives me a number, she can take it part. And then also before Gears, there's also You Are Precious. You Are Precious. If you're out there watching, you have a chance to win Josephina head. 14. All right. Lauren Strauss got the 14. Happening in real time here. Exciting. Gears is going for 80. Okay. That might be last call. Last call for numbers. Yeah, that's what I figured. All right. Last call for numbers this week. We'll get our roll 20 up on the board. See who's going to win a Tridactyl head. We're 30 minutes into our show. I like to do a minimum of 30. If I can do an hour, I can do an hour. I don't know if I need to do an hour today, but I'll definitely answer any questions, comments, insults. I'm old and bald. See, I'll beat you to it. Yeah, it's strange dealing with the skeptics, of course, because like I feel like it's like a random person walking into your classroom just going, nuh-uh, nuh-uh. All right, let's do it. Let's get our dice up. And let's put this on the screen so you guys can see that too. There we go. You guys all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Here we go. I'm just checking the chat. All right, I'm rolling. I think we need some music. Hold on. Boy, I have so many screens that I think my mouse gets confused. Like, well, what screen do you want me to be on exactly? In theory, we were never alone. This is Disclosure at Tridactyls. $35. Who had lucky 35? Dun, 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 Oh, look at that. Another one of those just right between two people. There is no winner this week. Eventually, we are going to run out of either, well, ideally, I run out of numbers, right? And then each week we have a winner for sure. But right now, no winner. Do you believe that? No winner, chicken dinner. A little disappointing, I know. So, yeah, I think the parietal pineal eye is one of the most important discoveries we've made. And I say we, I mean me. I think it is, because it really just, it ties in that cusp of it's myth meets science. It's the belief system of the ancients predicting the biology of these beings because they are who I say they are. You know, I really do. I hate being so confident, but this is what the research led to. This is what the research told me. I think this subject needed someone that was willing to take risks, not afraid to look like a fool, and able to put these pieces together. What do you guys think? What do you think is the biggest constant companion theory find so far? Thank you so much for saying that. I love your dedication, and every one of your posts and live are amazing. Keep on keeping on, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just here to yeah, just ignore them, says Milky with the skeptics. I mean, ultimately, you know, that's the grown-up thing to do, right? That is probably the best thing to do, is just to ignore them and to move on. Because and I can only hold their hand so much too. Like, you can only give them so much information. If they don't eat it, then you can bring a horse to water, but can't make them drink it, right? So every week is a new discovery, ideally for me. I get such an endorphin rush from finding out new things that I go into like a depression if I'm not finding cool stuff. So I will spend just hours going through the auction houses and the museums, because luckily so many museums have their collections digitally showing right now. And thank you, Skywatch, for saying that. And I appreciate all your social media shares, because ultimately that is what I'm doing here. It's just educating and getting the information out. I think every human being deserves this information. Thank you, Jared. Jared Rosenthal loves your work. Keep it up. Okay, I'm going. Believe it or not, your guys' words are they are encouraging, because this has been isolating. If you saw some of my posts, I have friends that were really into like UFOs, Bigfoot, and reptilians and all that stuff. And then when I present this to them, I get treated just like any old schmo. You know, it's talk about perspective, right? I mean, I didn't want to start with my family. I won't even go there. But yes, even my own friends have been super, super skeptical. And even when you present the facts to people, they're still in disbelief. So I get it. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But if you go with the fact that I recognize the bodies, trace them through the world, it's all different locations, and then you combine that with the actual physical science of how many larvae have I detected? I think at least 2 in Artemis, at least 2 in Louisa. I think actually, no, at least 3 in Louisa, probably more, right? My suspicions that the fused spinal column in Maria and the others is actually what's called a urostyle, which is the result of a frog after a frog absorbs its tail. If you looked at some of those Nazca paintings, I need that book handy. You can see that it looks like, I think some people thought they were penises. Hanging between their legs, it looks like tails. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you know, my background, I used to teach history for, well, it was a high school for kids on their last leg of the tour. And literally some of their last legs had ankle bracelets on them. So that was an interesting environment. I was teaching the same kids that I used to bounce out of the nightclub. But what was really rewarding was tutoring the Seminole children on the reservation, because that was a very unique population. And it's funny, my two final projects for getting out of my teaching social sciences class was one on World Heritage Sites, which these Nazca mummies are essentially a mobile World Heritage Site, and teaching Native American children. And I'm going to leave it like that. I hope some of you guys are watching Strange New Worlds out there. There is a xenoanthropologist there. I guess he's my descendant, Sam Kirk. Live long and prosper. Thank you so much for all the encouraging words. Show up next week so we can give away one of these things. And I look forward to that day. Very fun. See you online again. Live long and prosper.